Okay, so this is a drawing by my best friend Lila when we were about 6 years old. It's neat, pretty, and as close to perfect as a child's drawing can be. She's obeyed every rule. Stay within the lines, shade neatly, give your people a circular head, and not something that looks like a Toblerone. This is my drawing. Yeah, no, I haven't done any of that. I guess you could say it's a bit more abstract. But then I've always been more interested in art as a means of creative expression. You can do anything, there's no right or wrong. Well, unless you were my year 2 teacher who told me that my drawing of a red giraffe was wrong. I was like, Miss, this is the Serengeti. It's hot. The sun is here and my giraffe is here. There's no way it isn't sunburned. And then the whole class laughed and I got in trouble for being smart with the teacher. Oh, but it made sense to me. I mean, when I went out in the sun, I got sunburned. So why didn't giraffes? I mean, they're a lot closer to the sun than I am. Just one of the many times I realised I didn't quite think the same way as everyone else. So, my best friend's drawing. Neat, pretty, obeys all the rules. Lila was diagnosed as autistic when she was 6 years old. My drawing. Scruffy, all over the place, no attempt at shading, just pure expression. I was diagnosed as autistic 6 weeks ago. 2 different drawings, 2 different styles, 2 different people. They say that a picture tells 1,000 tales. Now, you wouldn't guess it from that picture, but I went on to become an art teacher. But I'd always wanted to do something colourful and creative, and, well, I'd always been good with kids, so it seemed like the best career for me. You have to want to be a teacher. There's so much stress and mess and red tape. It's just not worth it if your heart's not in it. Was it easy? No. Did I still want to do it? Absolutely. One other thing you might not guess from that picture is that I am a bit of a perfectionist. Yeah, I get so stressed if things haven't quite turned out the way I hoped, or if things have gone a little bit wrong. I can't tell you the number of canvases I've thrown out the window because they've gone wrong. Like, literally. I live on the 3rd floor flat. Bit of a shock for my neighbours. The reason I'm saying this is that I think that teaching and perfectionism go hand in hand. Apparently, so I'm told, do perfectionism and high-masking autism. You know, it's funny how a diagnosis can change people's perceptions of you. I told one colleague about my diagnosis, and keep in mind that I've been teaching very successfully at the same school for 4 years. Never had a problem. In fact, the head teacher even told me a number of times that I was an asset to the school. But then that one colleague went blabbing to someone else, and then that colleague told someone else, and then suddenly the whole school were treating me differently. Several times a day I was getting things like, "How are you doing? I know exam season can be pretty full on," or "Just let me know if year 10 get too much for you and I'll pop in and take over." Like, what? I am all for support. And yeah, I know they think they were being nice, but support I didn't want or ask for, support that implies I can't do my job? No, thank you. And then came today. I was sitting having a nice quiet lunch, and then I wasn't. I was summoned to see the illustrious headmaster like some naughty schoolgirl. Now his name is, and I tell no word of a lie, Mr. Dick. And I don't mean that lovable eccentric from Charles Dickens. I mean, no, his unfortunate surname quite literally sums up his personality. He is not known for being the most tactful man. Case in point, today. Anyway, he calls me to his office and he sits me down and he says, "So, Anna." I smile politely and pretend not to notice the head of HR and the head of pastoral, who are shifting uncomfortably at the side of the room. "We hear through the grapevine that you recently received a diagnosis of autism." Yes. "We were just a bit concerned." Concerned? Yes, he hums, twirling that ridiculous moustache of his that I've always thought makes him look like one of those cartoon villains who ties damsels to train tracks. "You see, teaching is a very high-stress and demanding job, and with a condition like yours, I'm sorry," I say. "Are you firing me? Because under the Equality Act..." No, of course I'm not firing you," he says, glancing nervously at the head of HR. "I'm not firing you." "Good," I say, "because that would be illegal." No, of course not," he says. "It's just, I was wondering if there were any support measures that we could put in place for your condition." "With all due respect, sir, it's not a condition. It's not something you have. It's a part of who you are. I was diagnosed later in life, but I've always been autistic." "You seem pretty happy with my work so far." Yes, of course. Like I say, we just want to put some support measures in place for your, And right now, I'm really wondering how this guy became a head teacher. "I'm okay, sir, really. I can do my job. It's just that I've known people with autism, and they can't stand stress or noise or crowds or mess." "I'm an art teacher, sir. I make mess all the time. It's like the colour spectrum. Every colour is slightly different than the next, just as every person is slightly different to the next, with slightly different needs and slightly different styles." He stares at me, then glances over at the head of HR and the head of pastoral, who are actually smiling. "I don't understand," he says. "If you've been coping so well, why get a diagnosis at all?" I shrug. I've always known I was autistic. I just wanted to confirm who I was. Now, I'm not saying every day's a breeze, because it's not. The world is built for neurotypicals. But I am good at my job, and helping even just one student makes all the stress and all the mess worth it. Don't you think? Yes, of course." "Good," I say. "And if I need any support measures putting in place, I promise I'll say. Not that I'm not grateful, it's just right now I'm okay with the way things are." Then I make a big show of checking my watch. "I have 4 minutes and 37 seconds until I have a Year 9 class. Can I go, sir?" Yes, of course. And so I go, leaving behind Mr. Dick, who has, turned the same colour as my sunburned giraffe. So, 2 different drawings. 2 different styles. 2 different people. A spectrum. And hey, wouldn't the world be a pretty boring place if it were all the same?